Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu Folge 114 von eurem Wohlfühl-Retro-aktuellen Podcast Thoughts of Chaos. Mein Name ist Tom Knoppers und der Stephan, der ist ja auch mit mir hier. Hi Stephan. Und der ist heute hat total noch mehr Bock als sonst und ist noch mehr motiviert als sonst, weil wir haben heute jemanden zu Gast.
Ich bin on fire.
Ja, du bist on fire. Diese Person spielt in einer Band, die wir beide unheimlich mögen. Stephan ist aber noch der etwas größere Fan, muss man an der Stelle mal sagen, und kennt sich sogar noch ein bisschen mehr aus als ich. Deswegen freue ich mich, dass Stephan jetzt quasi unseren Gast vorstellen darf. Stephan, bitteschön.
Yeah, we're switching to English now. Today's guest worked with people like Devin Townsend, Napalm Death, Amorphous, Ian Lucassen, Within Temptation, releases as a solo artist since almost 20 years and is probably best known for her work with Dutch prog rock outfit The Gathering. I'm happy to welcome one of the greatest voices and charismatic persons we have in metal and rock, Anneke van Giersbergen. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Tom and Stephan. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's awesome having you. Thank you very much for taking your time. So,
sorry, Stephan, didn't want to interrupt you. Just, we already talked about this before a little bit. We ran into me and Anneke ran into each other in the 90s sometime, someplace. We're really excited for this episode, and we even decided to make it just this interview so we can get straight to the point and don't bore people with our other things and like what else is happening in the metal world, because nothing important happened. Let's be honest about this.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's lots happening at your place. How does it feel to have a new EP out?
Oh, it's nice. It's nice. It's actually the first time I'm trying this the way of making like 3 EPs, which eventually becomes one big LP, probably double album, whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like the process. I really like writing, recording, releasing, and then just continue writing, recording, releasing.
Oh, okay.
And all the new ideas can go on the following EP. So it's really like a chunk of time, every EP, and I really like this process. And in the between we do a lot of shows, and I do a lot of shows, and yeah, I love it. I love it.
This is actually amazing, because we talked about this with some other guests. Times have changed, record business has changed, the industry has changed, and my point was always like, look, you've got these digital options. You can basically put out everything yourself whenever you wanted it. And when you go back to the beginning of rock and pop music, it was like the Beatles. They wrote a song, they recorded it, they put it out, and then they went on to the next one. And it was like, okay, now we have 12 songs, let's make an album out of it. And I really like this way that you're working with. It's like, okay, we write the songs right now. This is the moment. This is a kind of like time capsule maybe, and then we drop it, and then it's off to the next ones. But do you have like a continuing storyline or anything already in mind where this is gonna end up, or is it like open at this moment?
Yeah, it's kind of open, but obviously it's always like time capsule. I like that you said that, because that's what it is. So in that moment in time, I'm going through this and that, and I write about it and I put it out. But it's most of the time it's about life, love, death, all the things we all encounter and deal with in our lives. That's why the EPs are called La Vie, l'Amour, l'amour. And so there's not like really like a very specific goal in terms of what it should be about, but it's life events and the way I see things or feel things and go through and so on.
Yeah, but in that moment, actually, because as far as I understand, this EP was under the influence of some very, very negative things happening in your life. Both of your parents have died within a very short frame of time.
True. And true. And then obviously there's songs coming out of that experience, right? So the funny thing is just before that, like half a year before that, I wrote the song about my own passing. And we all think, like when we get older, we think about our own life and mortality even. And I wrote the song When I Die.
Okay.
And I thought, oh, this probably is too much. But I made a video and I just put it out, and then everybody's like, "Oh, I think about these things too," and and it made such a connection
Mm.
to a lot of people. And then like shortly after, my both my parents passed away, like you said, and a lot of people are going through the same thing and so on. So it's just wonderful for me to be able to write about it and at the same time talk about it
Yeah, yeah.
and go
Because
through.
I think that's the problem. A lot of people think about death, their own mortality. I mean, for example, I know exactly how I want to be buried, and I've known this for 20
Right.
years already, right? But nobody likes to talk about this. This is not a topic of light entertainment for a dinner party or something. Like,
No.
hey, I'm Tom. I want to be buried like this. How do you want to get buried?
Yeah.
It's not going to work like
Though.
this, you know?
Yeah, but though it should be, though, well, not maybe at
It could
parties,
be,
but
yeah,
it could be like. And but I think we in Western Europe, it's more of a taboo.
yeah,
Illnesses, death, or also when you deal with mental problems.
yeah,
From the olden days, like our parents, generation of our parents and our grandparents, they didn't talk about these things at all. So we didn't learn how to. But I noticed when you go down south in Europe, but also South America, these
yeah,
countries, they're very open about how they feel. They're very open about sometimes being somber
yeah,
and the darker things in
yeah.
life. So yeah, and then we can talk about like today, like now with you guys, and we talk about music and we talk about the topics that are in our favorite music, which is heavy metal and
Mm,
prog. And in heavy metal and prog, there's no boundaries, there's no taboos, and that's why I
mm,
like the scene so much.
mm,
I think
mm.
this really sticks out on the two EPs which already came out. Though being inspired by death, they still sound really positive and confident and are pretty versatile. So it seems tragedy can bring some totally different things.
Yes, I agree so much. I think there should be a balance. I always try to find a balance in my lyrics and in my music.
Mm,
I'm happy you notice this. And for sure, I think, when, for instance, in this case, my parents passed away, is so, so sad. But it also has, some things that are really beautiful, like the connection with the family or the connection with people who are going through the same thing you talk about, and the connection with the music. And so yeah, so it's always two-sided, right? Everything is two-sided.
yeah. Would you agree that tragedy sometimes creates creative moments?
Yes, I'm afraid so. I
Mm,
wish sometimes, life would be just all good and positive. But I think because of this balance, because there has to be, you learn only by falling and
mm.
making mistakes and fucking up. And I wish it wasn't so sometimes,
Oh boy,
because
I think I should be a wise man by now, according to that. But let me
yeah, me
think
too.
about this again.
I know, I know, right? And I have I live a very happy life. I have family, I have music, but even then, sometimes life just strange and difficult,
Yeah,
and it is good to be able to talk about it and try together, like
yeah,
to make
yeah.
something of it. Yeah,
Yeah, I think this is an important thing for everybody at the moment, with everything that's going on in the world right now that's affecting us in one way or the other. Um, it's important to be aware of that and to care about that, but I think it's also important to care about yourself and surround yourself with things and people and ideas that make your mind go into another direction sometimes.
for sure. And I think the and the thing the the things we have to look for are the little things, like a phone call
Oh
or the
yes,
sun shining or a cup of coffee or a good chat like we have now,
yeah.
or and because also internet and all the socials are teaching us to make everything huge and big and perfect, and it's not.
we call it to trump everything up. I think that's a perfect saying at this time. Somebody said this the other day, and I was like, wow, that's really good.
Right.
So what's your way to deal with these things creatively?
I guess there's always things bubbling in my head. I can feel like, oh, I have inspiration, but I'm not sure how to, go about it yet. But I know that if now I'm going to sit down with a guitar and an iPhone, I can make a song like that. So there's always something stirring and bubbling. So whenever there's something in my life happening, or I think about things that are eligible for a song, I sit down and I start writing. So that's kind of my creative process is always going on. And sometimes you're not able to sit down and write or record because you're busy or we're playing shows or we do, cleaning the house. Very important, has to be done.
That's just what my therapist told me the other day. She was like, "Man, the way your flat looks is kind of like a mirror of what your inner self looks." And I go like, "Okay, I'm a fucking mess. I better clean things up now, right?" And in the literal sense. So, and that's
so true.
Yeah, that definitely helps. Yeah.
Yeah, so true. Inner cleaning is outer cleaning.
Yeah. No, but I get your point. I mean, it's like everyday chores, they have to be done. It's like, even if you're like a successful musician, somebody, unless you have like Liam Gallagher used to have back in the 90s, 4 people doing the tea for him, you have to do it yourself probably.
Right. Yeah. For sure. I'm not at that stage. I have to make my own coffee and everything. Yeah. But I like it. I like the physical tasks of, cleaning and sometimes and we're very busy and everybody, and so we let it slide, but then, when somebody comes over for a visit or we know like, oh, tomorrow's going this and this, he's coming to our house, then we start cleaning like maniacs.
Yeah, just like normal people would do. It's like everybody does that. I mean,
but it feels good, like, oh, like everything is clean now. It's nice.
I'm at this point in my life, like now I'm a little bit over 50 now, and I've just started to change from like the heavy metal t-shirt and blue jeans guy to like wearing like black shirts and everything, and I really like that. But it also means I have to deal with ironing for the first times in my life, and I'm still learning on how to properly iron. It's like I YouTube things on like how to properly iron a shirt and everything. It's like, okay, this has to be done, and I want to learn. Like sometimes adult things are like really good for you, and learning these things.
Adult things.
Yeah, of course.
I wouldn't refer to ironing then, but okay.
Yeah, it's an adult thing.
Yeah, Stephan, of course, Stephan ironed his own shirts when he was 3 years old. He wanted a German iron shirt. No, but while we're on the lighter side of things, and maybe we ruin this good talk right now, but what you're not only just on your band is like very big, your solo band. It's like 9 people if you count it right, and one of them is your husband. Does it make things easier or more difficult sometimes?
Easier. In my case, I know a lot of people, they say to us like, how can you stand being with your spouse all day, every day, day and night? But we get along so well. It's also because we're quite different types of people. So he's like a thinker. He knows things. He can really use his brain for a long time in a row. And normally I'm like a goldfish, like now I'm all over the place. So, and I'm the doer, so I can be, well, he can do everything, but I'm very practical. So and it's a good combination. So he thinks things through, and I work at it. So and he's a very good drummer. And so he's in the band. We have 8 people in the band together, everybody. And it's a huge, it's really, it's a big task to get everybody, in a rehearsal room or in a studio or on stage.
Just the logistics are difficult with this number, with this amount of people.
Yeah, but it's so worth it because when we're on stage is so nice, and it's good energy, and everybody's really great, and so so we're looking forward also to go out abroad, in November as well with the band. So it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Is there do you already know what L'amour is going to sound like, the third EP in this trilogy?
Not yet. I have ideas, and I also have some little demos waiting to be looked at. But like I said, my bubbly brain is also picking up on a lot of new ideas. But I think in summer I'm really going to sit down and write.
This summer, when you're touring, like I don't see like 6 out of 7 weekends. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's true. But and then we say like, okay, during the week we should take it easy. And then I said, but taking it easy for me is go sit down and write music.
Yeah.
Because I love it,
Yeah. It's always good when you like what you're doing. I think. Yeah.
For
so
sure.
the solo or the solo tour, let's call it like this, it's gonna be in November. It's gonna be like pretty much a lot of places in Europe, and in the German-speaking parts, it's gonna be in Luxembourg, in Esch-sur-Alzette. I'm hoping I pronounced that right. It's gonna be in Hamburg, in Munich, in Cologne, and in Aschaffenburg. And
Yes.
as far as I understand, tickets are going rather fast. So people, if you want to see this, better get your tickets now. And also, basically, what we're just saying is getting tickets in the pre-sale is always a good thing because it helps the promoters and it helps the artists for a safe show and no worries. And this is what in the stressful evening, and everybody benefits from that in the end. This is just what we're saying.
Thank you. For sure. Agreed.
And then I already mentioned it. There's this other band thing you're doing in the summer, which this beast, which came back to life not too long ago. I hope you're fine if we talk about that a bit as well. Yeah, that's cool. So we were all very surprised when we got the news that The Gathering were back together or you were back together with The Gathering and to celebrate a very, very special album, which came out like right now. I think it's like 31 years because it had the 30th last year. Of course, we're talking about Mandylion, your first record with The Gathering, right?
Yes.
How the fuck did that happen?
I
mean, as far as I remember, you got back together, I think in 2014 for kind of like a jubilee show at some point, and after that it was like separate ways again.
Yeah, and that's that was like 10 years ago, a little more maybe. And actually it happened so fast. There was a few things like when my mom passed away, um, both Hans and René, the brothers of The Gathering, we were okay, but we were doing our own thing. We didn't have a lot of contact. And but then I received from them super sweet messages because my mom she used to do in the beginning days of The Gathering when I joined. She would do like bookkeeping tasks for the band.
Okay.
So the guys knew her very well, and they were always there. My parents at the concerts and everything. So they sent me super nice texts and so heartfelt and was so nice. And so we started just texting, and they said, "Oh, we should go for coffee," and then we went out for coffee. And then Mandylion became a gold record. Actually, it was gold long ago, but nobody of a record company or whoever or we ever bothered to like added up the numbers and make one of those gold record things.
Yeah.
We never thought about it. And one of the Dutch guys from Century Media, he kind of added all the numbers, and also from Nighttime Birds, by the way. And but and it was gold, and he said you should have this gold album and you should celebrate. And so we said so all these things kind of happened in a few months time. And so we got together, then we got together with the band, then we got together Jelmer, the old guitar player, he was there. But Renee said, once we had like these coffee dates, and Renee said, with all these things, wouldn't it be nice to do something special, like a show?
Yeah. It's always just one show at the very beginning. Yeah.
So I said, yeah, let's do that because, felt good. And I love, we all love the album. And we know that people really still listen to the album. I know people
Oh,
have
yeah.
this album in their hearts. What we didn't know was that when we announced the show, that everybody's going berserk and bought tickets. So we had like instead of one, we had 5 sold out shows
Awesome.
in Nijmegen, and then everybody from the like the festivals, everybody jumped on it. So then we decided like we do 1 year,
Yeah.
we do all the cool stuff like Wacken, we do all the cool festivals. And then we end it like we celebrate for a year,
Yeah.
and then that's that. So
Yeah.
and it's so much, it's so fun, it's so nice to like the guys feel like brothers to me, and we know each other so well because we were day and night together when we were younger, and yeah, it feels good. It's
Yeah.
nice.
Without getting too much into any juicy details, if there are any, of course, but it sounds to me as if there was never like some really, really bad blood between everybody. Of course, when
No.
people go separate ways, it's always attached with some negative emotions, of
Yeah.
course,
Yeah.
maybe accidental even. But seeing
Yeah.
now that when the time comes around, you can get back together and like maybe restart again. That's always very, very, very
Yeah.
heartwarming to me, I think.
Yeah, that's nice. And because, like you said, of course, when I left the band, they were not happy.
Yeah.
And of course, that was like a difficult thing for everybody. But like, when we were together, like when I was in the gathering, all these years, like 13 years, we were together like day and night. We did everything together. So like 5, 6, 7 days a week, we were working on the music, and we were together, or having meetings, or writing, or touring. And then, so we didn't have kids, we didn't have mortgage, we didn't have ironing
Yeah.
tasks. So, so everything was the band. So when I left, that all exploded, right? So, and that's super shit for them, and that obviously that brought on some negativity and sadness, and so. But then, like you have so they restarted, and they had Celia, who is wonderful, and so we did our own thing, and now everything is so different because now the band is not the most important thing in your life anymore. So everybody leads their life, everybody has different things going on. So now I think maybe only now is the best time to get back at it, and then remember the good stuff,
Yeah.
and singing the old songs and playing the old songs. So now it's fun. Maybe 15 years ago that wouldn't be such a good timing, or I don't
Yeah.
know.
Stephan actually found a quote from your drummer about you getting into the band. Stephan, would you like to read that quote for us, please? Because you're so good at reading quotes.
Yeah, thank you very much. Back then, when you kind of in the time when you joined the band, he is quoted having said, "When a woman is willing to sing in a band, she's usually more serious about it than the many guys who just show up thinking that bellowing into a microphone will make them frontmen."
Wow.
So the question there is what were your thoughts about getting into a band that only had male singers before and belonged to a kind of genre that was like and still is overwhelmingly dominated by men?
Yeah.
Did that scare you off at some point?
No.
Okay.
Well, it's two-sided. It's three-sided. Well, all my life, when I was younger, I was a little bit like a tomboy, like boyish kind of, all my best friends were boys. I have a big brother, I like being around males, boys, because I like the more earthly energy of guys,
Yeah.
So I'm always very comfortable in, not such a girly when I was younger.
Yeah.
So I was into metal, and I loved heavy metal, and I
You already were into metal at that point in time. It
for
was like
sure, for
so
sure.
you knew about the scene and everything.
Yes.
You've probably been to the Don Rossi a few times, seen a couple of bands play there. Probably been at the Dynamo maybe 1 or 2 times.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, the Dynamo Festival for
Yeah.
sure. But at the end of the 80s, I discovered Metallica.
Yeah.
They got played on the radio. It was like one evening in the week. There was one guy, he's very famous, this guy, and he played heavy metal on the radio. When we heard that, when I heard it, like, oh my God, oh, right, this is music I love, and it's Metallica and all these kind of trash metal bands he's playing, and so. Um, so yeah, it felt very natural. The guys in the gathering are, metalheads, but they're so kind and so,
Mm.
and very serious about music. And I was very serious about music. I was making music, already and writing songs. And I had this
Mm.
duo with my then boyfriend. So we were playing everywhere in cafes and
Yeah.
I was actually in a speed metal band,
Mm.
but we didn't take off.
Okay.
And actually, when I was doing audition for I had 2 songs for the gathering for this Mandylion album for to be in the band. I was also in the other metal band, and the guitar player Ben, he said, "Are you auditing for um, uh, the gathering?" And I knew the gathering from a mutual friend. So I
Mm.
I was never to their concert, but I heard their music is really beautiful. I heard Almost a Dance. I heard Always, and I really, really loved it. So I thought, could be nice to, sing in this band. It's great. But Ben, our guitar player, he said, "Oh, so you're going to audition? Oh, but then we're going to lose you." And I said, "No, no," because I was doing like a million things at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he said, "We lost you." And I said, "No, no, but yeah, they
Mm.
did." Yeah.
As we
And
know now. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
he's
yeah.
right. He's right. He's actually moved on. He makes like this really beautiful prog music himself,
Yeah.
Ben. But so yeah, so it felt very natural to join the gathering.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Apart from being
Sorry,
apart from
Stephan.
it being the first record, what makes Mandylion special to you? If you recorded, I think it's 7 records with the Gathering,
Yeah,
and
something like that.
what makes it stick out?
I think the thing is that we were very spontaneous. We worked very in a spontaneous matter and intuitive matter.
Mhm.
It's also because we were very young, and it was our first album together with me, and we had this record company, Central Media, who really believed in us, and so we had a deal. So we got some money to go to the studio. So we had like really the time and the money and everything was like perfect to record an album.
Mm.
And the guys already wrote the whole Mandylion album without vocals. So I made vocal lines and lyrics, and that fitted like very well together. And the thing is, and the nice thing about Mandylion and the nice thing about me joining the gathering, we didn't think about anything at all. Only like, this sounds good, let's record it.
Mhm.
And
Mm.
only like the record company, they were much smarter, of course. They were like, we never saw in this capacity, um, heard female vocals on doomy metal.
Mhm.
This is special, but we
Mhm.
didn't know. We
Mm.
were just like, oh, this sounds good and it feels good and we get along so well. Let's do this together. Um, Only afterwards we felt like, hey, this is really special.
Mm.
Right? So because everybody else was jumping on it, because everybody else thought it was special and everybody knew except for us, we were just like happy to be in the studio
Mm.
and making an album together. So I think that's also the energy on the album
Mm.
is very intuitive, is very
Yeah.
um from the heart and nothing else. No egos, no
Mm.
no plan, no money driven thing. Like it's just like, 6 people make an album. And I
Mm.
think after that, you get there's other things like you go on tour and then you have to make a new album and then you start thinking differently.
Mm-hmm.
But we always try to have the same kind of spirit, in every album. Like, okay, let's make a plan, but let's not think of anybody, and just make good music.
I see. Yeah.
So let me just chime in here really, please. So now you can help me, because as you said, you were responsible for all the lyrics. Can you please help me? Because I couldn't wrap my head about this for like 30 years. What does Touch the Renaissance and Chaka Khan mean? I think it's from the very last verses of Strange Scenes.
Yes.
I mean, I know who Chaka Khan is, of course, a very, very famous American jazz singer, maybe is the best jazz, rock, pop. She can sing everything, basically. I mean, I just saw her NPR Tiny Desk concert the other day again, and was like, what the fuck is she doing?
Yeah.
She's just brilliant. But
Yeah.
I never what the Renaissance, was it an album, was it a band? I couldn't make the connection. What's behind that?
The Renaissance as in the time period.
Okay.
I was afraid, like, oh, this song is so old. Sometimes I don't even know what it's about anymore myself. But yeah, luckily I can explain. But it's kind of random things that from the past.
Okay.
Chaka Khan, being from the 70s, the Renaissance, but also like the old, like like ancient stuff. And just random things like, if I could go back in time, I would go,
Okay.
I would want to see or live in this and that.
Okay. Yeah, I see. I just was focused too much on that detail. I didn't see the big picture enough then. Yeah, but thank you anyways. Back to the interview. Being there when this record came out and kind of like exploded in the scene, it was like a I mean, metal changed by that point in time already. It was not more about like Hellbent for Leather, Judas Priest kind of things. It was opening up. We had like grunge coming in between a couple of years earlier, and so I think, of course, being at the right time, at the right place with the right record was like, of course, that's just pure luck. I mean, you couldn't plan for this. But can you remember that moment when you in the band realized live with, hey, this is really clicking with people. This is something's changing at this moment right now.
Yeah.
And not just about the size of shows, maybe, because I remember you used to be in these package tours back in the days with, like, I don't know, you back then you were labeled death metal when you started, and that moniker stuck with you at least in terms of tour booking. It seemed you were, I don't know, with you were on tour with everybody from that era, and you always stood out.
That's true. For some reason, in the gathering and the guys, we were always like inspired by different kinds of music, and also prog, like Pink Floyd. But that's very melodic and can be very soft at times as well. But also like the heavy stuff. But in very beginning, when we released Mandylion, there was no female fronted metal, right? That kind of.
You're no disrespect to Doro here, please.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Doro, please.
No. Big respect to Doro.
No. It's just she's kind of like a friend of the program, and
I love Doro.
And let's not forget Girls' School.
Yeah, of course.
Right, and but the thing is that it was a different sound because there were females in metal for sure. We had Doro, and we had some singers, and they were like they were a little bit more like rugged, And so the sound with the gathering changed a little bit. It was a bit more light sounding vocals and so on. Because the gathering also used female backing vocals, obviously. So before me, but it kind of shifted in a way that now, and to answer your question, now there was like a time where girls thought, hey, I love metal music. Hey, I love singing. Hey, I can do this too.
Mm-hmm.
I can sing in a metal band.
Yeah.
Then people play guitar, like females playing guitar, bass guitar, drums, or be a light or sound technician, be a journalist, be a photographer in the metal in the metal scene. More and more women came on board, and then female-fronted metal formed. Now we can toss the moniker again because it's just metal and whatever female male vocals doesn't really matter anymore. But there was a novelty back then, so that's why when we discovered like, hey, there's something going on, like you said, the scene was opening up. There were more females coming to the shows as well. So we saw in the very beginning was like 99% male audience. That gradually changed to like more females, like the girlfriends of the metalheads came along. They liked our band. So yeah, that changed. And I still, I still think I really like the masculinity of heavy metal and the energy of heavy metal, like this. It's very masculine energy. And I think also all the girls and all the women in metal nowadays are also like, tough cookies, right? They stand their ground. There's female power in heavy metal now.
Also behind the scenes. I mean, Stephan and I used to work in Wacken, and there's like female power behind the scenes all along, and it's really beautiful. It's a great thing to see. But just to illustrate your point, in 2007, you were on a tour that was called the Hottest Chicks in Metal Tour.
Yeah.
We're not even 20 years down the road, and nobody would even think about naming a tour like that anymore. And and when you look just at this little tiny detail within the metal and rock scene, we've come quite a little bit, at least a little way, because this would just be fucking unacceptable these days from everybody.
Yeah. And in those days, you would think like, okay, well, whatever, name it. But we were all like, all the females on the tour were like, what a stupid name. But okay, like we get to tour and fine, and it draws a crowd. But now, like you said, nowadays we would actually forbid this term. But and also, like you said, there was such a it was such a novelty. And before that, we were like touring with black metal and on the heavy metal festivals, and we were all like in jeans and t-shirts and in a gothic festivals, and we were always the odd ones out. But then the scene changed for sure.
Why did you leave the gathering back in 2007, shortly after this Hottest Chicks in Metal tour?
Because
That's
of
it. Never again. No, I didn't even think myself as hot chick. Like it was, but okay, we're done with that name. But that was just weird. But no, but I left because multiple reasons. I got a kid. He was then 2 years old. I wanted to combine family life with music. I wanted to make a solo album. And I was allowed to, right? But there was so many things like that. At one point, I felt like maybe I should just go out on my own, make my own decisions, not be part of this group of people where we decide everything together. Be more autonomic in music, in family life, in every decision. And it was time to just like leave the nest. That was kind of how I like the feeling. And it was a feeling from the heart, it was all these elements came together. And at one point, like I should go my own way. But I have to say it was super difficult to do that. And it was also because we were very popular and everything was actually going well, right? So nobody understood why, the fans or the people who listen to our music and also the guys, they were like, why, because, and also it was very hard to explain.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's a matter of the heart. You can't give good words.
It's what
I knew.
In the press release, this is what ends up in the press release as for personal reasons. I mean that's just no, but that's just what about it? It's the truth at this time. It's deeply personal as far as I understand this.
Yeah, it is, and it was difficult to explain because I also knew that they were not going to like it.
Yeah.
Everybody's lives would be affected by this.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was, but that was the reason, for sure. And I think I know I made the right decision because I really liked being on my own and do my own music and think about all the elements that and deciding what I would like to do next and when. So that was really good feeling. So
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
then I kind of branched out, right? I did a lot of collaborations with a lot of
Yeah.
different artists, and uh, and I did a lot of solo acoustic stuff, and I did band stuff. So I could really branch out and do
Mm-hmm.
everything that I really liked doing.
Yeah.
So that was also that was
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. You said you work with a lot of people already. Do you have one on the bucket list still that you would definitely would love to work with in the future?
Yeah, I'm living my bucket list, right? So because I work,
Okay.
yeah, but because
This is a
Devin
great
Townsend,
attitude, by the way. I mean, living the
yeah,
bucket list,
Mhm.
that's a great
yeah.
attitude. This
I
is a
just came up
t-shirt.
with this. Yeah, I'm living the bucket list. Yeah,
Put
but
it on a t-shirt.
we
Or
should, huh?
on a record
Definitely.
cover.
What?
On a record cover, the
On
next
the record?
title.
Yeah. Oh, such a good ideas, guys. But so I work, looking at Devin and Arjen and all
Yeah.
the bands in it. So, but I don't have a lot of wishes, but I love people like Mike Patton. I always say like Mike Patton. He's one of my favorite singer in the scene.
And there's
I
another
saw him.
one here in this interview who can
Right.
subscribe to this
Right.
claim.
Awesome.
Please meet my friend Stephan.
I was so
Stephan,
sad
yes.
when they canceled that tour in 2020. Yeah, it was in 20. Yeah,
Right, that's true.
for the pandemic.
And once again,
True.
I'm proud to be old because I've seen them in the club days.
Awesome. Awesome. I actually we played a tour with the Gathering in '99 maybe,
Yeah.
and we were playing in a small hall on the ground floor, and then up a big hall above. There's Mike Patton playing,
Yeah.
and after our show, I was running upstairs to watch him a little bit, and I was way in the back, and I'm very tiny, so I couldn't see anything, but I heard his voice, and it was like, yes, it was so great. And then a huge fight broke out in the audience, and so I left. So because I
Oh,
was thinking like I'm getting trampled here if I
yeah,
don't go
yeah,
away. So that was a bit of a bummer, but I saw him live one or two, like 2 times, on festivals.
yeah.
Love
Cool.
him. Yeah.
So, what were you already had some shows last year, and you had one this year, right? On at the beginning of April. What were those shows like with the Gathering?
Yeah. We did this first festival, the start of the festival season in Holland,
Mhm.
and so that was after these 5 shows last year.
Mhm.
So we were already, we already played together, but this is the first one for the festival season. So it's really nice because, these are like these guerrilla shows, right? You throw the amps on stage and you start playing without,
Yeah.
good monitor sounds and everything. So it's like, it's always so crazy. And I really like it. So, but it went very well. And you never know on a festival, we played in a big tent.
Mm.
And you never know who's really actually coming to see you because
Mhm.
people are everywhere. There's multiple stages. You don't have all the audience to yourself. So it's always like, especially with the Gathering shows, you don't know who is coming, but the tent was like packed, and we were so happy. So yeah, it was a good start of the season, good start of this celebration year.
And
Yeah.
what's the future of the Gathering going to look like when this tour is over? Now, Silje Wergeland, your successor, she left the band at the end of last year. So there seems to be a vacant slot in the billing of the band.
Indeed. So yes, too bad, by the way, because Celia is fantastic, and she was such a beautiful sound to the music of the Gathering. I don't know. You should ask the Gathering what they want to do in the next year or in the period after our anniversary shows.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have we don't have a plan together, if that's maybe what you're also looking for in an answer.
Yeah.
But because we really want to focus on this and celebrating, and we're not talking about making new music and I'm doing my things with my album and my band, and I'm doing a lot of things next year as well. But we are in each other's lives, which is fantastic, and we don't want to ruin it by making plans that we can't fulfill or whatnot, or
absolutely.
So we don't have plans.
Yeah, let's just say it family friendly. There's always going to be an anniversary. Hint, hint, hint.
Yeah,
right. So we made 8 albums. So when we're like 70, we are like, but if I can still headbang,
Yeah. No, but I think this is a wonderful approach to this thing, to celebrate something that you created together. And I mean, you don't have to worry about the set list for one. There's going to be no discussions. It's just, are you going to play it in the order of the album, or are you going to switch it up, actually?
No, we switch it up and we make like a good, story of the set list. And we play, in some festivals, we play a shorter set, but when we play the clubs, we play longer sets. So we have some songs of the other albums as well, from Night and Birds, from, we play a song like Travel in the clubs, and, all the our favorites.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah. Well, I didn't want to interrupt you, Stephan. Sorry.
No, I just wanted to tell everybody what the tour dates are. You're starting on 19th of May, and you're going to continue that tour during the festival season, and have still gigs in South America in October. And for all the German-speaking guys and girls listening to us, you're going to play in Switzerland on May 22nd, and you're going to be at Wacken.
And there's tickets available for Wacken still, which is a new thing. So go and see the gathering, people.
Yeah, for sure. I love the festival. Yeah.
On a big festival stage. I mean, just Passport is not a bad start to opening a festival season. I gotta admit this for sure.
Yeah.
At some point.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think that our time is over together. Anneke, thank you so much for being with us. It was a real pleasure having this really open and heartfelt talk to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tom and Stephan, for having me. I really liked this conversation. And
that's great. I'm looking forward to seeing you in Switzerland. Got my train tickets.
Thank you so much.
You go to Switzerland? You really go to Switzerland?
Yeah, a friend of mine. He lives in Basel.
Yeah.
And I visited him last October, and we went to the Z7, the club, for
one of the best clubs in Europe.
Yeah, it was amazing. We went there for Up in Smoke Festival, a stoner rock festival, and I was absolutely amazed by the sound of this club. And I like the interior, the size, and they got some good pale ale. And it's always a good occasion to meet with my friend there. So then they had a screen next to the stage, which featured your appearance, the appearance of the gathering in May. So I thought maybe we should go there and get our tickets, and that we did. And so going to see you in 3 weeks.
Fantastic.
You just want to make sure you don't miss them when we're working in Wacken. If something else comes across and we're not able to see them. Yeah, that's
another
you're
reason.
Smart. You're smart. You're a smart kid.
Are you going to be at Wacken as well then?
Yeah, we're going to be part of the crew again, and so we can't. I couldn't be sure if I could see the show of the gathering at Wacken. So I decided to go for a more relaxed occasion.
Ja, wonderful. Very wonderful.
Super. Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Liebe Leute, das war's für heute mit Thoughts of Chaos. Schön, dass ihr eingeschaltet habt. Ich hoffe, ihr hattet genauso viel Spaß mit dem Interview wie wir. Wir sagen herzlichen Dank fürs Einschalten und bis in 2 Wochen.
In 14 Tagen wieder,
14 Tagen, ne? Genau. Bis dann.
Tschüss. Thank you, Anneke. Tschüss.
Tschüss.